Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is I need to check out. Today's special selection comes at us from Scrubs the Neko. It's fun. That's literally all the context there. The album art tells me it's going to be fun anyways. We're looking at the band Curta'n Wall. The track is Siege Obsessed off of the Siege Obsessed album, and it's not obsessed, it's obsessed. You gotta be obsessed with the siege. I don't know. Let's dive into it, see what's going on with this one. Okay. I have no expectations after this opening 5 seconds. So we got the upbeat hits, got an accordion. Although we got the gallops and the band, we have growls. What is that plucked instrument? Feels like he uses a very large, sturdy pick. What? I think this shock's starting to wear off. I'm gonna dig into this. Critical listening mode. Engage. Is that a harpsichord? Is that what it is? Kind of polka-y. It's interesting how present the hi-hat and snare is here compared to the whole drum kit and the rest of the track. I love this. What is that sub bass? Paused it just a bit early. I wanted to let that last note resonate, so I played it again. Wow. I think the comment for this is rather accurate. It's really difficult to listen to this without a smile on your face. I don't want to necessarily use the word fun. I think it's a fine word, but it feels a bit reductive when talking about music for some reason. in certain circles. Anyways, I've used fun before, but I think the fun, for whatever reason, in the way that I read and understand the word, it diminishes a little bit of the complexity going on here, which I'm not going to say this is a hugely complex song, but it is not as straightforward and simple as I was expecting. So yeah, I mean, maybe fun's the right word for it. Yeah, it is fun. It's fun to listen to. I'm sure it was fun to write and to play. I want to see a music video of them dressed as knights while singing black metal inspired folk. Oh man, I don't even know. All right, let's get into some actual analysis here. This is all just reacting. I'm trying to still trying to understand what I listen to. The song has three modes to it. One is the polka mode with a heavy offbeat accent that helps the section drive forward. There is what I think is an accordion present here, though I don't think that necessarily is what gives it the polka feel. The timbre certainly helps, but it is the driving speed and the offbeat accents with these particular harmonic qualities that they're utilizing here. It feels upbeat, it feels driving, there's a lot of momentum, but it's bright, it's happy, it is joyous, it's almost celebratory in a way. Which, if the song is literally about being obsessed with sieging, the celebration might feel pre-celebratory. That's terrible. My brain's still processing. Okay. It came right at the beginning of the song, which would be a celebration before the actual siege, possibly. I don't know, but yeah, it's bright, it's joyous, it's fun. We move from this into something a bit more black metal inspired. We get the growls. We sort of lose all of the folkier instruments. The accordion's gone. We do have some sort of heavily plucked acoustic instrument. I think it's a harpsichord, but someone, if you know, let me know. The timbre just, it wasn't clicking with a specific sound for me, and I don't know why. Um, but that's gone. There's another instrument that is I don't remember what the other instrument was. It gets removed. Anyways, we get a bass guitar, I think. It's kind of quiet. And an electric guitar here, super fuzzy, very black metal production style. In fact, even the drums come in here, which we had previously doing hi-hat and snare, which kind of gave it a punk feel, especially with the offbeat attacks, but we're going to move on from that into 16th note bass kicks, if I remember correctly, extra tom work and snare focus here as well. Makes it feel black metal. We got the fuzz, we got the muddy production, we've got the growls in here. But I think it's interesting how there's still something missing, and I don't know what it is, because at best this section I would describe as black metal inspired, despite having all the instruments here and in a production I would typically associate with the genre. I don't know if it's the spaciousness, I don't know if it's the chord progression, the harmonic quality. It feels blackened, but it doesn't feel like true cult black metal for whatever reason to me. Um, it's an interesting shift though, from the acoustic to the electric, from the bright melodies to the black metal vocals taking over the lead instrument, and just as sharp of a juxtaposition as that was, we go into what I think is the chorus, maybe? I don't know, there's three distinct parts, and verse chorus only looks at two parts, so um, we'll call it a refrain, maybe? Um, and this sort of meets them in the middle musically. We still have driving percussion from the black metal section, but we bring back some of the instrumentation from the folk section, and we put these gorgeous operatic vocals on top of it. And I think the second or third time through, we end up having this really nice dual line melody with these operatic vocals, where they're usually in line but sometimes diverge and go in completely different directions while still singing, I think, the same words. At least the syllables sounded similar. And we cycle this through. After this refrain, we head back to the folk section, we do another black metal section, and we do our choir, the operatic part. Um, and that's the song to me. um, it feels fun. It's energetic. It is tongue in cheek though. It's not just that the song has this joyous, celebratory sound to it that is fun, but it also feels like they had fun making it. It is almost comedic, I think. I'm trying to figure out if my laughter was because it was comedic, if there was a comedy element to it, or if I was just laughing as a way to process what I was hearing. Um, but either way, whether they intended it to be funny or not, there is a tongue-in-cheek aspect to it all, I feel, that ties it all together. Because otherwise, this would just be a mess of sounds that don't really have much to do with each other outside of what's on the sheet music. The melodic components, the key, the chord progression, the key, a lot of that is the same from section to section, but they're just so disparate. They're so different in their sound. That they might as well be different tracks. Now, speaking of sound, I had mentioned the black metal production, and the drums have this primarily only in the black metal section. The snare and hi-hat are rather clear in the folk and the refrain. And I'm curious what's going on here. Because the song as a whole has clear production, and even the muddiness of these instruments in the black metal section is clearly produced as a whole. The instruments themselves are lo-fi, but the song is hi-fi. And, that's a really interesting texture right there that I think kind of works for me. I think that's as close as I could get to having some sort of enjoyment of lo-fi black metal is lo-fi instrumentation with hi-fi song production. But why, I think, is my question. Why do we change the sound so drastically there in the middle? What is the point of the transition? What is the point of the contrast? I like that we see these two sides and bring them together for the refrain, but I think at that point, after our first refrain, we should have found a way to keep them together because the segmented approach on the second and a half time through the track, I don't think quite worked for me. It was a neat shock value, gimmick, whatever you want to call it, on the first time through, but afterwards it was just the status quo for it, and I found that it didn't really work for keeping the song interesting. That is to say, after the what's the word I usually use for fresh ideas? I don't want to use the word gimmick, but that's the only thing coming to mind. But after the shock value of these harsh transitions are done with, they don't add much after that. And I think the song would have benefited if they would have gone in a different direction for the last half of this track. But, that's in retrospect. While I was listening to it, I was jamming along too. So, I don't know. Could it be better? I don't know. Something a parallel universe could answer, but we can't because we can only know this version. Somebody can make a new version of it, but it's always going to be compared to this one. I don't know, I'm going to hit some lyrics here and see if that helps me understand any of this chaos. It's interesting that each of the individual sections are well composed and well produced, and I don't have any real issue with any of them aside from my expectations just being rocked. um, but overall, it feels like an exceptionally chaotic track, even though there's nothing really chaotic going on within it. So let me look at some of this, see what's going on. That word I was looking for was novelty. After the novelty of the segmented sections wore off, I needed something more. Not gimmick. Gimmick's the wrong word. It's close, but novelty is what I wanted. Lyrically, this song is just as blunt as the music is. Um, I mean, right off the bat, it says, I'm siege obsessed. Put my claymore to your neck, dressed for death. Stain your chainmail red. A squall of blades will slice you into shreds. Obliterate the foe till there's nothing left. It's about medieval sieging and how much this person loves it. And he describes all of this from the perspective of enjoyment, almost like a pastime. The chorus says, Siege obsessed, I'm siege obsessed, castle has been blessed, eternity, begin my quest, eternally rest, heavenly will feast eternally. I think the consistent use of eternity and eternally 3 times in 3 lines, one, I think just alludes to this person's mindset. They never want this to end. They're hyper focused on this. But from a linguistic perspective, it's said so many times that the word begins to lose meaning and it sounds weird, which adds to the comical element that I'm hearing in the song. I'm not sure if that's intentional. Um, where are these? Where are they from? Oh, they're from California, so there's no language thing going on where they, might have a limited vocabulary, or maybe this is, Google Translate consistently translates these more nuanced words into this one English word. Uh, but no, it looks like English is their main language, so this is their first full-length album. They've put out a few EPs since 2020. Interesting. But yeah, that adds like a little comical element to the lyrics for me at least. The second verse goes on once again to talk about how he enjoys throwing torches on roofs and watching these straw houses burn and stuff. He says, it's pretty ugly. There's some horror stories out here, and many people's minds crack under the constant pressure and the traumatizing gore, and the weak will cower and abscond. But me, I'm siege obsessed. Prepare for war with my flail by my side. My steed marches on to destiny. We press onward, siege obsessed, raid their castle, topple the walls, and we will heavenly feast eternally. Yeah, it's very straightforward spoken. There's very little figurative language in here at all. Um, aside from the ideas of cracking under pressure, very mundane figurative speech stuff that's used in everyday talking. Nothing in here very poetic and flowery, I should say, which I think fits with the character. Assuming this is a soldier from medieval times, a knight, not a soldier, a knight from medieval times. Um, and I think it fits the topic as well. It all works well for the art, which makes me question the music a little bit. It's folk black metal, I think, is their inspiration. We've heard a lot of stuff like this, but nothing like this. um, and I'm still kind of confused about some of the musical choices in here. I want to listen to more though. But I definitely want more of that refrain. I love the melodic writing in there. I love the dual melodic writing. I could listen to that all day, and I really hope that they have that in a lot of their tracks, rather than it being like a featured singer or something. But we could also just have that on guitar, like get rid of that fuzzy black guitar for a moment and get some nice guitar duets using that same melodic writing. It also kind of comes out of nowhere when you compare it to everything else. Like, not even just sonically, which of course it's a drastically different sound for that section with the female vocals and the wide. We have strings at that section too, don't we? I don't know. It's been a while since I've heard the track now, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes almost. But yeah, just the writing. The writing changes up so much there too, with such a focus on melody that we don't really get anywhere else. Yeah, that was fun. I completely agree, Scrubs. That was fun. I don't know that there's much more to it. I could probably listen to a few more tracks of this right now. I don't know if I could do a whole album of it, but I am definitely intrigued about what they're doing here. And I think they've got some gold if they got some more stuff going on, which I think makes sense because my draw to this is the novelty. I don't want them to be like a novelty band. I think they got chops for more than that, but the novelty is what's drawing me in. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Curta'n Wall's Siege Obsessed. Let me know what you thought, what y'all thought of this one. Give me your perspectives, comments, opinions. Put it all down in the comment section. Above the comment section in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. Takes you here. You can find my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for today. We'll be back tomorrow, continuing our theme and exploring another special selection. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.